Oh, best time of the offseason. FT Senior Insider Ken Rosenthal with us right off the top. It's the Inside Scoop. Ken, let's get to the Yankees. Were you surprised that they ended up the winner of the Max Fried sweepstakes? And what else do you think they have up their sleeves?
A little surprised only because the rotation is a strength of this team. But at the same time, and you've heard this from others as well, I'm sure, when you're losing the offense, you're losing with Soto. It makes sense to pivot to a pitching defense model. Not that they're going to be a bad offensive team necessarily, but they're going to score fewer runs. So if you're going to score fewer runs, that enables you, or it may persuade you to try to prevent runs at a better rate. And when you get freed, now you have the ability to trade a starting pitcher, and they could do some things. They could trade Stroman, they could trade Nestor Cortez Jr., and maybe they could even trade American League Rookie of the Year Luis Hill. I just reported, and Joel Sherman reported this morning as well, that Hill could be a guy that you use in a Kyle Tucker trade if the Yankees are willing to do that. Now, to go to the next step, Kyle Tucker, a trade like that would be the equivalent of the Juan Soto trade last year in terms of getting a guy for only one more year of club control. And the Yankees might not want to do that again. But at the same time, Kyle Tucker is, like Juan Soto, an elite player, a different player than Soto, but one of the top 10 players in the game. And it's going to be really interesting to see how the Yankees leverage their pitching depth if they do it all, and I expect that they will, as well as whatever else they might do to improve their offense. They've been in talks with Christian Walker at first base. They've got some other things that they can do as well. If Walker doesn't work out, there are other first basemen on the market. They are in a position now where they can maneuver in any number of ways, and they're exploring every possible option. And it's going to be fascinating to see how this matrix unfolds.
Is this indicative of the Yankees really wanting Fried over a Corbin Burnes if they're in this market, or is it possibly the price that Corbin Burnes is going to be asking based on what they paid for Fried?
They paid a high price for Fried. It's the biggest contract for a left-handed pitcher in the game's history. So it seems to me this was a clear preference for Fried. And yes, Burnes is likely going to get more. We all know that. But Fried to them is a really good athlete, a Gold Glove winner, a guy with a great pickoff move, a guy who on the mound does more than just pitch, right? Burnes, on the other hand, is a guy who allows stolen bases like crazy. Now, the Yankees have a lot of other things that they're considering when they look at these two guys, but that's got to be one of them. One of the problems with this team last year, despite them making the World Series, was their lack of playing the game in a proper way. And when you can't hold runners, that's one of the things that we're talking about. So I'm sure Fried's defense and his ability to hold runners appeal to them. And as well, he is one of the better pitchers in this sport right now.
Ken, how soon do you think a Burnes deal is or how close maybe? Because the pitching market honestly has been on fire, right? Pitchers, boom, 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 boom. Only really one position player, the big one, Juan Soto. But for pitchers, it is like, man, every time you look up, boom, here's the free agent pitcher list. And you look at it, I mean, a bunch of the top guys are off the list. And Sasaki will be off soon enough as soon as he gets to the end of his posting time. But, man, how quick do you think a Corbin Burnes deal can come together?
Quick. And I wouldn't be surprised if it happened today, AJ. I don't know that. I don't have any inside information. But the Red Sox are on tilt right now. They need to do something. The Blue Jays, they acquired Andrés Giménez yesterday, and that was a big move for them. He's a $20 million a year player on average annual value, but they still want to do more, and I expect that they're going to make a strong push for Corbin Burnes. The Orioles are in there. The Giants might be in there. So nothing would surprise me really as far as the timing. And I would expect that, yes, if not by the end of the day, certainly by the end of the week.
Hey, Ken, what did you think of Nathan Eovaldi signing back with the Rangers for a healthy $25 million a year over 3 years, and the Jake Burger trade not lasting long with the Marlins?
I love both those moves. And first of all, priority number one for the Rangers was Nathan Eovaldi. They wanted to get that done. They were in on Fried, and they made a strong bid for him, but ultimately it didn't happen, and then they pivoted right to Eovaldi, and they got him. So that's a good deal for them. He's certainly a guy that they know well, a guy that we all know well. He is one of the game's harder workers. He is one of the game's elite postseason performers, and someone that players really admire and respect a great deal. So that's a good signing for them. And as far as Jake Burger, I love that move for the Rangers. They were looking for more offense. They didn't love the way their offense performed last year, didn't hit fastballs well enough. And Berger is a guy, 29 home runs, back-to-back seasons. He certainly should help in that regard. So for the price that they paid, 3 minor leaguers, guys who are a little bit away, might never make the majors, to me it was a terrific move and another curious move by the Marlins, who don't seem to want to play winning baseball at the major league level. Maybe a double-A they'll like their team. I can't imagine what their major league team's going to look like.
No, we know it's going to be Sandy Alcantara and 25 other guys.
Yeah,
probably
it's not looking good.
Not good. But, Ken, what about the Red Sox? Where are the Red Sox in all this? We keep hearing, oh, they're in on Fried, they're in on Soto, they're blah, 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 blah. And then you hear that, they disagree on players. The front office disagrees on who they should. What the hell is going on in Beantown? I thought they brought in Theo to help Breslow, to help Henry, to help Sam Kennedy, to help try to get a team that could compete with the Yankees and everyone. What's going on in Beantown?
Well, first of all, that was a really interesting report yesterday by Mass Live, Sean McAdam, in which he said Cora and team president Sam Kennedy wanted to sign Alex Bregman, but that Breslow, the general manager or president of baseball operations, was opposed. So that's one thing that they've been involved with, but their focus is pitching. And I would expect they're going to make a big run at Corbin Burnes. I don't know how they cannot, because they have raised expectations with their pursuit of Soto, with their pursuit of Fried, their talk about Bregman. And now if they come away 0 for 4 with those guys, that's not going to sit well among their fan base, which is already ticked off after their half-baked, full-throttle offseason a year ago. So I do expect them to do something big. I still do. But until they do it, this talk is going to persist about, hey, what are they actually up to? Are they real? And so far, they haven't been real as far as getting a player and getting a contract done.
So is this indicative of the new front office that's in there? Craig Breslow's second season that they can't close the deal? Or is it the same old ownership that doesn't allow ex-GM to close a deal?
Difficult to say, Eric. I don't know for sure. I don't know the inner workings and the dynamics there. But Breslow has actually acknowledged that they're going to have to get uncomfortable. They're going to have to do things that make them uncomfortable. That's free agency. And Andrew Friedman once famously said, if you try to be rational on every free agent, you're going to lose every free agent. Something to that effect. So they're clearly going to need to do something here. And whether it's ownership needing to step up more, whether it's Breslow needing to be more decisive and proactive, I'm not sure the combination of those factors and the exact dynamic going on. But bottom line is they need to get some more players. They need pitching. And Fried would have been perfect because they need a left-hander in the rotation. And Burnes would be fine too. He's a great pitcher, of course. But I'm anxious to see how this turns out for them.
When there's a big signing. Oh, I'm sorry, Scott.
Sorry, Kratz. My bad. Go, bud. Go, bud.
When there's a big signing like Max Fried, especially since it's a left-hander, the top pitcher available essentially on the market is another left-hander. Do you hear more rumblings right away after that? Because there's teams that missed out on Max Fried. If we think it was the A's, whatever, the Rangers. Do you hear more rumblings quickly about a Garrett Crochet? Because his value just went, AJ said it yesterday in our post-trade talk, his value just went higher than it already was. It was already astronomical.
His value has already been high. Yeah, that's right. And I didn't hear increased talk last night. Doesn't mean there wasn't. I don't hear everything. But he's going to get moved. And what's really going to be interesting is whether some of these other starting pitchers get moved as well. And Dylan Cease is a guy the Athletics' Dennis Lynn wrote about today. I'm sure the Padres do not want to move him, but they've got their own payroll questions and the necessity perhaps to juggle things a little bit. So that might be a guy in play. And I'm still waiting to see what the Orioles do. We're talking a lot about the Red Sox. The Orioles need starting pitching too. They need to replace Corbin Burnes. Now, are they going to re-sign Burnes? I would think that's probably unlikely. Can they trade for a Crochet, a Cease, or Jesus Luzardo? So I don't know who it would be, but they need to do something. And again, it's really interesting because these three AL East teams, Orioles, Red Sox, Blue Jays, are all kind of on tilt, as are the Yankees for that matter. Now, they've got their pitching addressed, but they've got to address their offensive needs.
Hey, Ken, let's finish with the Guardians because they pull off the Andrés Giménez deal, and then Spencer Horwitz from the Blue Jays goes over to the Pirates. So what did you think about all of that? And the push forward for me is I think maybe this clears enough money for them not have to move Josh Naylor, because I feel like that would be more of the PR disaster. They love him out there.
They do, and they're going to listen on Naylor. They're going to listen on Lane Thomas because both guys are potential free agents, and they listen on guys like that. That's just how they operate. As a small market team, they make hard decisions, and the trade of Giménez was one of those hard decisions. Now, when I first saw the initial trade, the one for Horwitz and the minor league outfielder, I thought, what are they doing? But after they traded for Luis Ortiz from the Pirates and the 2 minor league left-handers, it began to make more sense for me because they always want pitching, right? They have had a shortage the last couple of years. They were great before that. But now they've re-signed Bieber. They've got Ortiz. They've got the 2 kids that maybe they'll develop. This is one of the best pitching development teams in the game. And with Giménez, he's owed something like $96.5 million over the next 5 years. He's an elite defensive player. His value alone from his defense justifies almost that cost. But last 2 seasons, offensively, he has not been very good. And their fear was that a third straight season of that, with his salary starting to rise, they weren't going to be able to move him. So now they open up second base for perhaps Travis Bazzana, their number 1 draft pick, later in the season. And they do have a little bit more flexibility. Now, I'm told they can keep Naylor and they can keep Thomas. They don't have to move them for payroll purposes, but they're always going to be listening. And I would not be surprised to see them do anything, because yesterday, that was a move that came out of nowhere. I don't know that anyone expected them to trade Andrés Giménez. We've been talking about Naylor and Thomas for quite some time now. So with the Guardians, best to just keep your eyes open and make sure you're paying attention.
Okay, Ken, last one real quick. I know you have to go report on something, but is there a move we haven't heard about yet, or have we heard about all of them? Is there a crazy move that behind the scenes might happen that nobody has heard about, or is because of social media, everything is out there already?
AJ, there are always moves that are possible that we haven't heard about. And anything I've heard about, anything anyone else hears about, we're going to report. But I often wonder what the percentage of what we hear as reporters and what actually is being talked about, what those different percentages are. I sometimes think we hear about 20, 30% of what actually is discussed, maybe even less than that. So there are always things under discussion. The Kyle Tucker thing is really interesting right now. We've got a story up right now, Chandler Rome and I, about what they are looking for from the Cubs, the Astros. And with the Bregman scenario, the Astros are a team to watch, but I am quite certain there are moves going on that, like the Giménez move yesterday, we just have no idea about.
Ken, thank you so much for the time. Enjoy the finish line. We'll talk to you later this week.
Thanks, guys.
That's the Inside Dish. Ken Rosenthal hosting Fair Territory later this week to wrap up the winter meetings. So if we didn't get to your question, guess what? You can ask him and Alana on Thursday, live on YouTube, 12:30 Eastern Time. We'll be right back to go over the dissension within the Red Sox front office, the chances that Kyle Tucker does get moved to a team like the Yankees, Cubs, Giants, Phillies, who knows? I'm just going to hit a baby signing while we have time here for the YouTube crowd. So Thairo Estrada, $4 million guarantee to the Rockies. Don't say we don't talk about the Rockies on YouTube for 2 minutes. Erik Kratz, former teammate. Is it? There you go, Kratz. You got 1 minute. Tell me why Thairo Estrada is the guy to take the Rockies to the World Series this year.
Don't do that to me. Don't put me on the spot like that. You can't paint me in a corner. I mean, it's a great pickup because he's a great dude. He has had some really, really awesome stretches in the big leagues. I think it gives them versatility as a hitter. He puts the ball in play. But it is the Rockies. Good news is he gets to play with my twin, Jacob Stallings.
Yeah, he had a pretty down year after looking pretty good. One of the better position players, actually, in the first half of 2023. Just kind of an all-around awesome first half. I think he got hurt a little bit in the second half. But this past season in late August, I mean, he was placed on waivers. But defensively, he's great. Like Kratz said, was really bad on the on-base percentage last year. Was chasing a lot more than he had the year before. But
I think everybody has potential to have a great season in the big leagues. If you're in AAA, whatever, he was one of the guys that took one of those contracts where you get some money up front, and it made his career skyrocket. He was like how calm I was. It just made me hit so much better. It made me, he said it was worth every penny.
Who, Tyro Strada?
Mm-hmm.
You got a little upfront dough? I don't remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Good for him.
He and I talked about it.
Well, for the Rockies in general, yeah, you're seeing these little baby moves. Kyle Farmer. They love Ryan McMahon. They won't trade him, even though he'd have a lot of value.
Good dudes.
Just good guys.
Yeah, but,
good guys.
But it's not, I mean, listen.
Cool place to hang out.
They're really nice.
They're pieces they could possibly trade also, but not anything that's earth-shattering going to help the Rockies win anything anytime soon.
No. Really nice last place team.
Cool place to hang out with the guys.
Yeah, there's a chance that they finish ahead of the Marlins.
Yeah, White Sox.
Well, White Sox on the AL side, yeah. But are they maybe the second worst team in the NL instead of the worst this year? Maybe.
Marlins, geez, who knows what the Marlins are going to have and what Peter Bendix is going to continue to do.
More tearing
They'll try
down
to make
to
them
do.
worse.
Whispers, spreading rumors. So there are reports out in Boston about dissension within the front office on Alex Bregman. Ownership and Cora.
Well, of course, Cora wants him. He had him in Houston.
Right. Versus, and he's been very public about it, versus Craig Breslow, who's probably given somewhat of a budget and parameters to work with. They're like, is this where you want to go? Yeah, Kratz thinks I'm going somewhere first. We've got our social media reporter, Michael Beer, on the scene talking to all of the reporters out at the winter meetings. So Chris Cotillo weighed in on this one for us.
Red Sox definitely have some internal debate when it comes to Alex Bregman. Alex Cora, a big fan of his, knew him in Houston. They've had ups and downs in their relationship, but they're on good terms now. Seems like Sam Kennedy, the team president, wants Bregman too. They could slot him in at second base, but Craig Breslow doesn't seem married to the idea from what we're hearing. So if the Red Sox are going to go after Bregman, it seems like it's going to take some convincing. We've heard Red Sox people think he's going to go back to Houston. Astros people think he's going to go back to the Red Sox. So a lot going on with Alex Bregman right now. The Yankees could loom even after Max Fried. The Tigers with A.J. Hinch. So definitely a story to watch the next 24 hours or so.
And Chris Cotillo, part of MassLive.com. So is Sean McAdam, who first came out with that report. Okay, Kratz, you think there's a little budget that's handed over to Breslow, and they're like, is this what you want to do with it?
That's exactly what it is. And Breslow's the one that has to be in there on the negotiations. He's not going to be like, we would love to have Bregman. No, the people in the field, like Cora, can say, oh, we want to have Bregman. Breslow's like, I got to stand at the table with his agent and be like, I mean, it'd be cool if we get him, but we got to kind of play it. But also, there's some strings being played, and he's the puppet, and he's like, here's 200. No, actually, no. Ownership's not going to give you that money. So he's at a tough spot. But dissension, not dissension. I don't even want to say dissension, but arguments within the organization need to be had. Maybe not in public, but they need to be had.
Red Sox fans are like, can we just be normal?
Can they just sign somebody, please, Red Sox Nation? Sign somebody, anybody that's going to help you guys win again and be good again. That's what they want.
Corbin Burns has to be thrilled now.
Corbin Burns has to be sitting there going, the Red Sox are in, but are they really in?
I would push them too. I mean, think about it. If they don't get,
I'm wearing them out.
If they don't get Burns, what now? What
if they don't get Burns? We could have a mutiny on the.
But they just won't go.
Fens.
They won't go to games. They not going to games.
They started last year not going. Remember?
I know that. Go to Fenway.
But if they don't, if they don't get Burns, you know who then is sitting there going like this?
Yes, Chris Getz.
Chris Getz is going. Oh, I have the cheapest option, best option on the trade market. Come and get me. $2 billion.
Hey, I'd be aggressive on Getz asking for some of their big boys. That's why it puts them in a weird spot. We know they have the money, not just that they have the money. Obviously, every team has the money. I'm saying they claim they've made offers, even if they think they're going to lose all of them.
I made an offer to Juan Soto, too. I told y'all to come play for my kid's high school team. He turned it down. I offered him $765.
I heard it.
He said no. He wanted to go play for the Mets. What do you want me to do? We didn't have the farm system.
It's not real.
We didn't have a suite to give him. That's why I said no. We offered him. We had some sunny seats in the. We could offer him an umbrella to block the sun, but we didn't have a suite. So we offered him his own locker, which I felt was a big, and his own beanbag in the locker room.
That is nice. Yeah, that's more than most high schoolers get, but unfortunately, it didn't happen.
Not at
all
first.
Right, so we'll see what happens.
School, higher learning, they all get beanbags.
Okay, next rumor. Kyle Tucker. Yankees, Cubs. I see Joel Sherman's article with Giants involved in talks too. Ooh, that'd be a good Giant.
Oh, if I'm him,
yeah,
I don't want to go there.
Yeah, but it's not up to you.
I understand that, but I'm like, Dana, no.
Yeah, but
no, Dana.
Is his free agent
please.
year.
That's what I'm saying. Please, Dana, no. Don't send me to where homers die. Please send me to Wrigley and hope the wind's blowing out a lot, or send me to Yankee Stadium where I can hook the crap out of balls and hit extra homers.
But do the Astros want to give Kyle Tucker to the Yankees?
It depends on what they give him back.
Extend him? I don't know. That's a tough one. These are still human beings.
Where do you want to send them that they might, if you send them anywhere, they might extend them? Cubs?
They don't have to see him.
GMs don't think about that. Oh, I'm going to send them to the Yankees, they're going to extend them?
Owners do. Some owners do. We just dealt with that last year.
No.
With the AL Central trades.
Not in this case.
Oh, Jerry Reinsdorf?
Yes.
This is way different.
You don't think Jim Crane would have a problem watching Kyle Tucker beat them up in the playoffs next year?
Not if he gets 4 or 5 good players that help him win a World Series in a couple of years. He couldn't care less about it.
I'm usually in that boat. I'm just like, it's a big boy player. It's a superstar.
It is.
So you think it's fine? He's going to have no reservations.
If they offer him the best package, then I feel like he'll go wherever they send him. Now, but again, if I'm Kyle Tucker, I am like, please no San Francisco. Please no San Francisco. That ball right there is probably a single off the right field wall. Okay, so let's, and plus he's got to cover all of right field out there in San Fran. He is going friendly confines of Wrigley or short porch in Yankee Stadium, please.
Okay, so what about the other side? Do you guys have players in mind that you think would be enticing? Do you put one of Heel or Clark Schmidt in there? Mark Feinsand reporting that, according to sources, he said the Yankees could move one of their young starters, most likely Clark Schmidt, as part of a trade package to land either Nolan Arenado or Cody Bellinger. Schmidt's ARB eligible for 3 more years. Heel has 4 years of club control left and won't be eligible for arbitration until next offseason. You guys see that happening?
If I'm the Yankees, I want to trade Heel. He's
over
at his
Schmidt?
Highest value right now. Because he kind of, he went from no one had ever heard of this guy to Rookie of the Year. And there were some moments, let's not forget, yes, he won Rookie of the Year, but there were some moments in there where they were talking about we got to send him to the bullpen because he lost the strike zone. There was some emotional stuff, I think I remember, that where he would get really, angry and upset or whatever it was. Listen, this guy was Rookie of the Year. He had an incredible year. But if I'm the Yankees, I'm thinking, all right, can this guy do this for the next 7 to 8 years for us? And if the answer to that is no, I move him. Clark Schmidt's done it for a little bit longer. He doesn't have the upside that Heel has, but it's also been a little bit more consistent. And so if I can get something out of if I can get more out of Heel than I can out of Clark Schmidt, that's a move I'm thinking I might make. If I can get Kyle Tucker for Luis Heel straight up, I'm going to have to think about that one.
No, it's going to cost them more than that, isn't it?
Who, the Yankees?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, if he's the major piece in it, though, I'd think about that one.
1 year and 4 years? I think that's the big incentive. The Astros don't have a starting pitcher in their pipeline that they're like, because then he would pair with Brown. He would pair with Spencer Arrighetti. He made his 29 starts. The other dudes that are going to be in that rotation, they'll let Framber walk. It could be a straight up. That's what I was going to say. If you give him straight up, I'm thinking about it. I'm definitely thinking about it because the Yankees have rotation depth at the moment. You know how that is fleeting sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, you forgot about the guy Blanco that threw the no-hitter also.
Ronel Blanco. Sure.
I mean, they got
at some point
Urquidy and Garcia might come back at some point. I don't know.
And Heel is 26 years old. Like he's not a spring chicken, even though he's rookie of the year this year.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the Astros will make that move, but we'll have to see. I don't know. I mean, Derek said he thinks there's an AL competitor tax. I don't know about that, but
also Urquidy's gone.
Urquidy's gone?
Yeah, they cut him.
Okay, well, that's fine. But, I mean, listen, if I'm the Cubs and I can get Luis Hill for Cody Bellinger, I'm doing that in a second.
Hell yeah.
Second.
The Cubs are dumping money.
That's what I'm saying.
They're
You'll
not
take Cody
getting
Bellinger
Luis Hill
$30 million
for Cody
Luis
Bellinger.
Hill? Boom, bang, boom.
No
Let's do this.
way. They are not getting Luis Hill for Cody Bellinger. No way. No way.
I'm saying if I'm the Cubs and they offer that to me, I'm doing that now. I'm doing that yesterday.
Yeah. Do you guys think that the Cubs are going to fetch much in prospect return if they're not eating money on that contract?
For Cody?
Yeah.
No. You'd have to put in. That's what I said the other day. You'd have to put in like a Nico Horner type player to, like, you have to eat some of that contract. He had like a 750 OPS last year. Now his versatility is awesome. You have an opportunity to have Gold Glove defense at first base or center field. It's ironic that fits so awesome for the Yankees because they do love their defensive first baseman, and they have kind of a question that could be solved in the first 2 months of the season with Jason Dominguez, but they have kind of a question in center field because they don't want to run Judgy out there every single day.
Patrick Mooney, who's part of Northside Territory, also writes for The Athletic, insider with Sadev Sharma on the Cubs, said mid-level pitching prospect for Bellinger. That makes sense. Guy who might be a depth piece down the road. And then still, I think maybe eat a little bit of money. I think they'll at least have to eat the buyout, right? So if he's 27.5 for next year, he can implement his own buyout where he gets an extra $5 million to hit free agency.
Yeah.
It's like you pay me to hit free agency. So I think that's the part where the Cubs might have to eat that because another team might be like,
and you don't know if you have Cody, and you don't know if you have Cody for another year. So it's like it's essentially a 1 year rental, because if he does great, which is you're hoping, that's why you trade for him, then he's opting out to go get a bigger contract. So then you're back at this again.
Yep. Good call. Okay. I want to wrap up our YouTube poll. And then when we swing back, we're going to go over moves that have been made. Also, we did a breaking news show last night on YouTube on Max Fried and Andrés Giménez. So if you want more insight there, we dedicated a good amount of time to them. But we're going to do it again in this show later on. Moves we didn't cover yet, besides with Ken earlier in the show. Nathan Eovaldi back to Texas. Jake Berger also moving over to Texas. So we'll get to those moves. Wait, I wanted to do the YouTube poll. All right, FT fam, part of this episode sponsored by Cornbread. Not that cornbread, America's #1 organic hemp brand. You have one in front of you. Can I have one?
Is this a cornbread?
That's a little cornbread. That's a little different cornbread. Yeah.
Cornbread, the guy who works in the umpire's room in Texas? Cornbread?
I'm talking THC gummies infused with organic hemp extract. Here you go. We've all had CBD in our lives.
I haven't.
CBD?
I don't even know what it means. What is that? Competitive balance deduction?
THC is to relax, but they have a number of CBD products. CBD for sleep, CBD for stress. So if you need help figuring out which one is for you, if you want to give it a try, you can hit the website, take a 2-minute quiz, get custom product recommendations for your specific needs. You want to feel relaxed, rested,
This help with stress. Sleep, I ain't got no problem with sleep. But stress, does this help with stress?
Stress, yes.
Mm-hmm. Give me about 10, because dealing with you and Kratz every day, I need about 10 of them things. So I'm going to just eat the whole bottle. Like gummy. Like M&Ms.
Yeah, sleep, stress, discomfort, you name it. right? From the winter meetings or from your friends if your friends are stressing you out. But seriously, you can take the quiz.
Loose term.
Colleagues, actually, work colleagues can stress you out. We all feel that. So if you're looking for a healthier way to enjoy a carefree moment, you have to give Cornbread Hemp a try. They've created the first ever USDA organic THC gummy. It's 100% legal. Obviously, we're talking about it on the show. As a special offer for the FT fam, 30% off your first order. Visit cornbreadhemp.com. Use promo code BASEBALL30. Baseball30 at cornbreadhemp.com.
Can we send Ken some of this? He's at the winter meetings. He's probably super stressed right now.
I will buy him one.
All right.
And see if he's down. 30% off your
I'd
first
love
order.
to see Ken. Oops. Wait.
We're in break. You can do it. You can do it. Wait, can we bring it back for a sec? Come back to me. All right. Because I think we have 1 minute, and I just want to read the YouTube results while we've got the YouTube group. Which of these teams will likely sign Corbin Burns? Winner of the poll, barely the San Francisco Giants. I voted Giants, so I think I had
voted
the winning
Giants
vote.
too.
Oh, nice. You and me got it.
We won
Almost
the poll.
500 votes on YouTube. Giants, then Red Sox on 34%. Blue Jays, Orioles.
How can you bet? How can anyone say the Red Sox? They haven't done anything in 2 years.
Because they're going to do something
what?
eventually.
What are they going to do? They're going to say, we tried so hard. We don't have any money.
Let's charge the mound. Nathan Eovaldi signs the Sonny Gray deal. 3 years, $75 million to return to the Texas Rangers. Ken Rosenthal was on the show earlier, so if you missed him and you want to backtrack and get rid of us for a few minutes, you can if you're just joining us. Ken was at the top of the show, and he talked about the fact that Texas was in on Max Fried. So they end up
They got
pivoting.
the guy they wanted. They know Nathan Eovaldi. They wanted Nathan Eovaldi. That was
35.
Still, 3-year deal, fine.
You see that? I mean, that's obviously showing how there are some similarities with Eovaldi and Morton in the regular season. This is David O'Brien's tweet. He said he'll make 25% more in the next 3 seasons in his new contract than Charlie Morton made in his past 3, 75 versus 60. It's the price of pitching on the market. I mean, Eovaldi's younger. Charlie Morton's what, 90? Inflation. Eovaldi also helped win them a World Series, and I would trust him again, right? I mean,
yeah, they know what they got.
You need to place a baseball in the hand.
And he's pitched huge games for him.
Yeah. In October, you need to place a baseball in someone's hand. Feel pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been good. When he's on the field, he's been good. He's battled injuries at times. And, he was the weird pitcher early in his career, Kratz, where you're like, this guy throws $1 billion, but he's striking everyone out. Why are guys touching his fastball? And then actually, he's got a really nice pitch mix these days. He really keeps hitters
Cutter
guessing.
And splitter have really been good.
Mm-hmm.
His cutter used to be when he first came up. I remember when he first came up, first I saw him was with the Marlins. And it was like 97 to 101 cutters. And I'm like, no way, a cutter? And you would see it so early out of his hand, and it was flat. Now he's added that depth to it. He's pitched in big games. Every single person I talk to, position players included, not just pitchers, love this guy. Love what he brings to the team and thinks he is one of their favorite teammates of all time.
3.80 ERA, 5th straight year above average ERA plus. It wasn't well above average, but it was 104. And again, I mean, this is a guy who is going to give you a chance to win each day, and then he's going to rise to the occasion in the postseason. Yeah, you know how often he used the splitter this past season? 31% splitter. That was a career high. He really mixed it in. You're right.
Thumber.
He's from Texas. This made sense all along. I don't know if the Rangers are going to do much else. We can get to their other move, though. We can pair them together. Might as well, right? Jake Berger.
I love the price that he got, though. $25 a year? I love that for the pitching market. Other pitchers are like, yep, sign me up.
Yeah, that's good news for Sean Manaea coming up.
Oh, Jack Flaherty. Oh.
They're going to do well. Actually, the 25 is pretty close to the 27 and change that Fried got, but Fried's for 8 years. So I don't look at that number too closely. It's more about the big number for Fried. But wait, let's go to Berger while we're on the Rangers. few prospects going the other way. He's a year away from arbitration. You've got him for 4 more seasons.
Mm-hmm.
If you like the player, it's a very specific type of player.
You want home runs, strikeouts, and not great defense.
Yes, but big pop.
No, huge home and a good dude too. Good dude.
Yeah,
good guy.
fun guy.
Jake Berger. Good guy, Jake Berger. He's got mad pop, former first-round pick. If you don't know his story, by the way, I think he blew out both of his Achilles right after he was drafted. Not one. He blew out one. I think he blew out the other one the next year. So he missed like 2 full years, got to the White Sox, got hot. They traded him to the Marlins. Marlins made the playoffs with him. Had a nice year last year. He hit 29 homers at Marlins Park. You're doing something special. Now he's going to Texas. I mean, they needed pop. I remember Adolis Garcia had a down year last year. Some of their other guys, Josh Young was hurt all the time, so they needed someone to fill in and possibly at third base. Nathaniel Lowe's power has declined the last couple of years, so they need some pop. And Jake Berger will bring you pop. He'll also bring you strikeouts. But if you want homers, Jake Berger's your guy.
Crush some lefties.
Mm-hmm.
Has a chance to hit 40+ in Texas.
Texas is big, bro.
Not as big as Miami.
It's close. Texas
And
is
better,
big.
much better lineup.
Texas is big. We need to get the Berger back on here.
We can ask for him, and I got to look at his defensive metrics. I mean, from the eye test, yeah.
Let's just talk about his homers because he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Well, what's the position?
Homers.
That's my
Not
thing.
first?
You can't just say, "Oh, DH, he had 29 home runs." I feel like some teams aren't built to necessarily DH because they got Kyle Higashioka. If Heim has a bounce back year, he's going to get some DHs. You got to get Corey Seager off his feet. He's going to get DHs. I'm wondering if this means Nathaniel Lowe gets moved and either Josh Young or Berger go to first base. Just hypothetical.
That's why I'm asking. I'm like, is he playing third? Because Chris Young's
He's not
a run
playing above
prevention
Young.
guy.
Young's playing third base every day if he's healthy. But he also hasn't stayed healthy for 2 years.
And Smitty plays third too.
Yeah, and he had
That's
a great
true.
year. Made the All-Star team too. So think about what they have coming back lineup-wise. If Evan Carter's healthy, you got Langford, you got Garcia, you got Evan Carter,
Seager and
Semien, Jonah Heim, Higgy as your backup. Young, if he's healthy, is great. And then you throw Berger in as DH or Nathaniel Lowe at first base, whatever that one is. That's a pretty stacked lineup. Now you throw in their starters with DeGrom. You start with DeGrom and Eovaldi. The Rangers are looking like not a bad team. Do they need some bullpen help? Absolutely. But I think they're trending in the right direction, especially the Astros with Bregman. They don't bring back Verlander. They maybe trade Fromber. Like the division is opening up again for the Rangers, possibly.
Yeah, and the hangover's over. You had your hangover.
What does Bruce Bochy do the year after he wins a World Series?
Wins a World Series.
Well, no, the year after they usually stink.
Oh,
But
loses.
the next
I'm sorry. The year
and
after
then
this.
the next year.
He's an every other year guy.
Yeah, he doesn't like to do it every year. He likes to let everyone else have a time.
Yeah, exactly.
He's so nice.
gracious like that. He's
Sorry, I got to
nice.
answer the phone. Love you guys.
Okay, well, we got to go anyway, so we'll be right back. Dallas Braden's joining us next.
There he is.
Yes.
All right, here, we're back. First off, Kratz, let's try and do a clarification here. Going back to earlier when we talked about Tyro Estrada, not an extension with a team. You want to clarify?
One of those off-field, like where somebody buys some of your future earnings, and they approached him, and he was not in the big leagues yet, and he was like, I think he had won AA Player of the Year at the time, or maybe we were in AAA together. I'm not sure, but that kind of thing is looked at sometimes in the players union, and they're like, oh, don't take any of that. These people shouldn't take your money. It gave him so much peace, in his words, to go and play the game the way he played when he was a kid. And it parlayed into a really, really good big league career that he was always going to be kind of an up and down, bouncing around kind of guy and need a break. Now he's caught a break. To me, this is a very, very successful story of something that those off-field contracts get a negative light that I don't I don't agree that it should be negative because I think it really worked out for him.
There you go. All right, let me get one or two questions quick here. Mike said, if Burger, what's the deal with Young and Lowe? We kind of covered that already. Ethan said Nathaniel Lowe to the Brewers for Devin Williams. No, the Brewers have Rhys Hoskins.
That trade is not even.
Devin Williams is getting traded for a very different kind of player. I mean, they're probably
Josh
getting
Smith needs to be in there too.
Right? Josh Smith,
100%.
Yeah. Needs to be in the trade?
No. It needs to be in the mix to play every day.
Right. Agreed.
And there's not a spot right now.
One more quick one. We got a minute, and then we'll bring Dallas Braden into the picture. Paul said, do you think Pivetta gets a similar deal to Eovaldi?
No, I think it'll be lower.
Lower.
Eovaldi has too good of a track record, especially in the postseason. I think Pavetta's looking at like a 3-year $60, something like that,
with an opt-out after year one.
Yeah, which is great, but or maybe 3-year $66, something like that. But does he go back to the Red Sox?
I saw a report that the Mets are interested in him, and that's one I can see.
Yeah,
that's got Mets.
Then it's
all
2
over
years. if it's the Mets, it's 2 years.
And then it's a heavy 2 years and an opt-out. Hey, Dallas Braden's joining us on FT for the first time. What's up, Dallas? Great to have you on, dude.
Gentlemen, how we doing?
We're doing really well. I mean, I want to go straight to biz for one, and then I'm sure AJ and Kratz will give you all kinds of crap for potential, matchups they had against you or whatever. But let me just try and be serious for one. The A's, the team you've covered the closest for years now, signed Luis Severino. I saw a report this morning that they were in second place for Max Fried. You talking them into buying pitching like this?
Buddy, if I'm talking, I don't know how many people are listening in that room. And I don't know how much weight the voice carries. What's nice to see is, and look, let's be honest, you can look at this through a couple different lenses. I think initially the first lens is this is something that was told to the fan base once a lot of the commotion started was there will be an expected ramp up in terms of payroll in anticipation of the ultimate move of the landing spot, which is Las Vegas. And with that being said, you have to start paying somebody at some time. So the largest contract in franchise history goes to Luis Severino. And that, I think, again, can serve a couple different purposes. One of the first and most important purposes it serves is it gives somebody in the rotation to assist JP Sears, who for the second year in a row was the most consistent, most available starter taking the ball every fifth day. You now have a veteran presence that can assist in that. From there, I think it meets a lot of financial requirements that I think are also necessary to continue to operate the way the franchise does. So with those two things being able to be taken care of with the signing of Severino, it gives Severino an opportunity to continue to perform, continue to provide for his family, and who knows what that leads to. I'd like to believe it leads to an extended postseason run for a young club who I saw get better. We're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but I think that's how you have to digest and view this move for Severino with the Athletics.
Dallas, before I ask my question, are you following them to Sacramento?
We'll see, AJ. We will see.
Okay.
My home is the commute would be cut in half in terms of where I'm from in Stockton, California. But that's still a conversation I think that has to be had.
Okay, sorry, I didn't know. I assumed, and I shouldn't do that you would just because you're kind of the face of the Oakland, excuse me, I can't call them that anymore. The Athletics. So I just assumed that you would go with them. So that's why I wanted to ask before I went into my next question, which is, yes, what you said is totally plausible. They have to spend money because they went from a huge market to a small market. And now because of the rules, they have to actually spend money, which for John Fisher has to be like, oh my gosh, they're pulling out all my teeth one at a time because I actually have to spend this $70 million I get in revenue sharing every year. But can they continue to do this? Can they, and are there more big moves on the horizon? Because you said Luis Severino, highest paid player in A's history, right? Finally took out Eric Chavez, who, no offense, we all love Xavi, but he retired like 15 years ago, okay? But will they make moves? Because we saw they're in on Max Fried. So now is there a Jack Flaherty? Is there someone else, another name we're not seeing that could jump in and the A's say, hey, guess what, guys? We're not that bad. We're close to being a playoff team. Come here and you can put us over the top.
As quickly as you'd like to give an executive office credit for spending money that they told you they were going to be spending, that's why I think a lot of folks have taken pause because of what you have just laid out and in terms of being able to operate. Now, moving ahead, do you want to see this trend continue? Absolutely. Because what does that tell you? That tells you that there's confidence in the young men who have showed up the last few seasons and continued to perform in spite of the noise surrounding them, which I think they need to be given a ton of credit for. I mean, when you watch the emergence of a player like Lawrence Butler, when you watch Brent Rooker continue to pop eyeballs out of the heads of people who've been watching baseball for a long time with his late blooming performance, you have to get excited about what's going on in that clubhouse. And as somebody who is allowed in that clubhouse, and those guys allow me to have the conversations that I get to have with them, I know what that vibe is like. And I can tell you right now, that's a room full of competitive big leaguers. And boys, we've all been a part of a room just like that, where there's question marks about how you're going to be able to succeed, where the productivity is going to come from. Well, I think a lot of those questions get answered on the daily from within those walls. So I don't think that's the issue. The issue is, or the question is, and I think it's a justifiable question, is what happens now? Is this all, or is, in terms of the ramp up, this phase one? And is there a phase 2, phase 3 coming later this season, or this offseason leading up to the 2025 campaign? Or is this the first phase and then we have to wait for 26 to see phase 2? That's what I think folks are really waiting for, myself included.
I think, without getting into it too much, I think they're going to get in trouble if they don't spend more money based on the rules of the CBA and all that stuff. But what do they need? What should they, if they follow the rules to the T, they've already spent 23 a year on Seti. So technically they have 47 more million. Dallas Braden has been in that locker room. You've seen the culture they've already built. And clearly we can see it with Kratz. What do they need physically? What would be the best use of their 47 million to put into this team to have the worst playoff games ever at a AAA stadium with big league teams?
I don't think there's any question that you could use another bat. I know there's conversations about what's going on in the corner in the infield. I for one, and boys, again, I don't think we have any questions about this, what starting pitching can do for you. Because I think when you look at the bullpen for the A's, sure, you could plug somebody in there, but I think you have some guys emerging, not only guys that can handle the ball in late leverage scenarios. I think there's guys that have closer potential as well. And I mean, look, nothing needs to be said anymore about what Mason Miller's capable of. So with the opportunity to work backwards in that regard, I think you're okay there, but you could always use help from a starting pitching perspective. And I know that there has been a shuffle. There has been sort of an effort to try to identify somebody over there at third base that you can plug in and play over there every day with some consistency. So with that being said, I would love to see Severino maybe have a mate follow him along.
Oh, I like that. Maybe I'm just putting too many horses before the cart here, but Lucas Erceg, Mason Miller, obviously there's some health issues. Lucas Erceg was a position player, and now you feel like the bullpen is Oakland. I mean, are the Athletics developing maybe like a mini, hey, we can make bullpen guys? Like, is that something that you're seeing in the last few years that, hey, this is easy? Because everybody thinks of like the Mariners, the Rays, the Yankees that take people maybe off the scrap heap or from their minor leagues and produces a really good bullpen.
Well, the first name you dropped, Lucas Erceg, I think there needs to be a ton of credit given there, because you're talking about a position player who turned himself into an out-getter, who then parlayed that into a closer role now in Kansas City. So when you talk about growing these guys, yeah, these are dudes. These are dudes that just need an opportunity to reveal themselves. The story and the track record of Mason Miller, again, I mean, I'm happy to continue to beat that drum if you need me to, because what he has showed up and done has given guys like Lucas Erceg the opportunity to develop into that bridge guy, that high leverage guy that Kansas City said, look, we need outs in the ninth. We're trying to get to the postseason. We got a dude who we'd identified as a guy that can get that job done for us. So there are plenty of guys and there's plenty of opportunity down there in that bullpen. I think it's just a matter of being given the chance to go to get outs, but ultimately I think to go out and to fail, because when you're in the big leagues and you're looking over your shoulder left and right after every pitch and whether or not that's going to get you another day in the game, that's a tough way to survive. And when you're given the opportunity to stumble, you're given an opportunity to clear some hurdles, I think that builds a lot of confidence. I mean, I continue to talk about Mitch Spence and what a Rule 5 guy has done, right? You come out of the bullpen and now you're in the rotation and you're able to make start after start after start just because of the growth that you're experiencing. So I think the athletics organization, for all the conversation surrounding the playing field, it's a great place to be in terms of opportunity.
Dallas, let's go bigger picture here. With the baseball in general, what's your thoughts on some of the salaries? I mean, listen, we all know where the A's stand for salary wise. We know where the A's have been from the Moneyball days to where they are now in Sacramento. And then you have the Mets and you have the Yankees and you have other teams, the Dodgers, that are super spenders. Is this good or bad for baseball? The fact that the Mets can go sign Juan Soto, the Dodgers can sign whoever really they want. You know, the Yankees go out, they lose Soto. Oh, we'll go get Fried and maybe other pieces. Is this good or bad for baseball?
Great for the players. Absolutely phenomenal for the players.
Great for their pocketbook.
Nobody's complaining. But AJ, I think we start to get into a conversation where we're talking about controlling earning power. And I don't know that conversation is going to go very far when we're starting to talk about the folks whose earning power we are talking about capping or controlling. I think from an executive perspective, if you're somebody who really loves the game of baseball or sport X, and you're in a position to push that product and you're in a position to compete and you want to compete, you have that compete gene in you, a la Uncle Steve Cohen, my goodness. I mean, fans of the New York Mets woke up the day that ownership transition occurred, and it has been Christmas in their minds every day since. And frankly, with his willingness to compete and spend the way he has and throw caution to all luxury tax wind, that gets them excited. And it has landed them one of the game's greatest and brightest superstars. And it's going to be that way for the next 15 years. So as far as a competitive balance is concerned, I think we're starting to wonder or starting to be able to really truly ask the question, are you worried about a billionaire's feelings, AJ? Or are you worried about the folks who support these products, the fans, and what they're getting out of their experience? Because that's where my mind goes is I know what it's like to feel like you're up against the world before the first pitch is ever even thrown, because you feel like you're not even competitive when it comes to dollars spent, your ability to attract free agents, sign or extend in-house talent. That's a tough way to root for a team, but I think the romance and the passion that comes along with our sport, I think feeds that narrative too. It allows folks to really strap on that underdog cape and say, you know what? I've signed up for 30 years of misery. And if I get that one, I will never forget the excitement that overcame my grandmother in 2016 when she watched her Chicago Cubs celebrate a world championship. And to see that, to live that, it makes you feel like, you know what, even in the face of all these big spenders, if the little engine that could is the one that crosses the line first in the face of all that money, isn't that worth it?
I thought she was an A's fan, by the way. I thought Grandma was an A's fan.
Buddy, she became an A's fan when Billy started signing the checks. And her fandom, as we said today, on hold.
I remember when you threw the second most famous perfect game of all time and she came out and gave you a big hug. I mean, she sure looked like an A's fan to me. I don't know.
Well,
I'm just saying.
She was an A's fan. She's in-house. She knows where the bread's buttered.
That's smart.
Let's cue it. Breaking news, Dallas, you're on for it. The Boston Red Sox are in the works to acquire Garrett Crochet.
Let's go.
Jeff Passan
Let's
said
go.
finalizing a trade. They're in the medical
You're
phase
booed,
of the
man.
deal.
This is
Not official.
This is exactly, Scotty, this is what I said yesterday on our podcast, Baseball is Dead. Check it out. Download, subscribe, leave a comment.
Yes, please.
I said Garrett Crochet. The reason I said Garrett Crochet was an opportunity for the Red Sox was the same reason I had pinpointed the Orioles as a landing spot for Garrett Crochet. Maybe giving this front office an opportunity to softly land with an individual who wants to be extended. The guy wants to perform, and the track record speaks for itself. This dude is an elite strikeout pitcher. He is a dominator. So when he's right, when he's healthy, you have a pretty good idea of what you're going to get. Now, it's a matter of him being healthy, but it's a matter of him saying, lock me up and I'll give you everything I got. And the Red Sox, I think, were in a position where it looks like they were not quite ready to commit the dollars to a Max Fried. They weren't quite ready to commit the dollars maybe to a Corbin Burns. So a Garrett Crochet is an opportunity for them to land a guy, to then extend a guy. And I think it could sort of keep the Wolves at the door. Maybe the Wolves aren't scratching. I don't know that they've left, but the Wolves aren't scratching at the door once they're able to land Crochet.
I'll give you another detail here as it's coming through. So there's Passan reporting it first, but Julian Mack, who covers the team, Dallas, said the deal does include one of their top prospects, catcher Kyle Teal. He said none of the other big name prospects. Obviously, I'm sure there's other players going towards the White Sox. I wouldn't be surprised if Wilyer Abreu is included because I know they're looking for some position players, and I felt like that was a guy that they were into, but we'll find out soon. But Teal's in there. So what do you think about the early returns here? And some Red Sox fans were really getting a little into prospect hugging, but the good news is they've got 4 pretty high-end prospects. So if this costs 1, this creates a pitcher with what? Number 1 upside, which we saw last year, who costs basically nothing in starting pitching terms. That's John Henry's dream, isn't it?
This is that is precisely, Scotty, why I thought that this was going to be a potential move for the Red Sox to make for everything that we're talking about here right now. And I know when you talk about prospect hugging, I know that there's a desire to try to keep a group together because you want to move a core along together. And there's a lot of different reasons, not again, from a player perspective. I think about growing with my boys, growing with the teammates and establishing something and how much that means from a fiscal perspective and a control perspective. I think there's some value in having these guys together and being able to sort of control how that plays out. But ultimately, you're right. You're going to have to part ways. That's why these are resources ultimately. And that's why we know prospects to be commodities. And when we talk about the draft and how much value is applied per organization to a draft slot, we know that there's slot value, but we also know that organizations value draft picks differently. And so with that being said, you have to be ready to part ways with this. And that's where growing talent on the farm comes into play. You want to be able to take your produce to market and be proud of it and show it off and have somebody say, I want that. And look what it can land you. It can land you a frontline starter who you now have the opportunity, should all things go well medically, to potentially extend, which I think we can all assume is a safe bet and would then give Craig Breslow and this Boston Red Sox front office their sort of first taste of getting into the weeds on these big free agents, maybe missing out on them. But what I have heard call panic pivots, I don't know that this is a panic overpay because it's a trade, but we'll see just what they're willing to part ways with and what else comes along outside of Kyle Teal.
Who got the better spot? Fried or Crochet?
Ooh. Man. I mean, is
Fried,
it hard
because
not
he got
to say?
paid Fried, because he got $218 million. That's all.
Well,
that's how I tell you who got the
look,
better spot. Right now,
and
it's
look,
Fried.
Well, it's not only because of the $218 million, AJ, but I think if you're talking about a team that is like on the surface out of these two clubs, who's willing to write the check again if they have to, who's willing to make the move, it feels like the Yankees are willing to make the move. It feels like the Yankees would be more in line, and as of signing Max Fried, are probably better positioned to compete in the division. And if you're willing to spend the money, which it looks like they are, and the Red Sox are not, then you have to think the Yankees, because I'm looking to compete. I'm going to need teammates to do that. There's only one out of the two teams here that have shown the willingness to provide teammates, and it ain't the Sox.
Boom. There you go. All right, Dallas, on your way out, give us one more plug on the pod where people can catch you right now.
Catch us over on Underdog. That's right, Underdog Fantasy. You can catch Baseball is Dead. Baseball is Dead. Myself, Jared Carrabas, Justin Havens. We've got Joey. We've got Jake. Come check us out 3 days a week. That's us right there. Boom. Holler at us. Check us out on YouTube as well.
And this topic is right up the alley of that show, of course. So
especially with Jared.
Yeah. That is.
Yeah, he's Jared. Yeah. Shout out to my boy
happy.
Jared right now, who is he's wandering the streets of the happiest place on earth in Florida right now, yelling at somebody with a large set of ears, going, "Crochet! Crochet! We weren't out on Burns. We didn't get freed." So shout out to Jared. Eat a churro. Enjoy the teacup ride. You'll be fine.
If we walk outside my house here, Dallas, we might be able to hear him, because Disney is not far from where we're at right now.
Yeah, we're close.
It is right there, right across the lake. You can see Disney, so it ain't that far. So maybe if I walk out there, if it wasn't pouring right now, so if he's yelling into his poncho right now, okay? Because it's absolutely pouring here.
Time out. It's pouring while Jared
pouring.
is at.
Yes, it's absolutely pouring right now.
He's
going like this in the rain. He's like singing in the rain out there running around. Yeah.
He's Shawshanking right now. Like, TV doesn't even cost anything. We're all
he is taking every one of those raindrops like the platoon.
Dallas, I just want to say good luck, man. I hope you do end up going back with the A's, because you are like Mr. A, and if it doesn't mean having to move your family and everything, I mean, it's important for them to find broadcasters and have them, like Ray Fosse was there forever, and you've kind of taken over for Ray. So I hope it works out for you to be able to stay with the A's for the long haul.
AJ, I genuinely appreciate that, man. It means a lot coming from me, brother. I know you know what it's like to go through stuff like that. So that means a lot, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Dallas. You're the man. Thanks for joining us. We'll have you back. All right.
Anytime. Thanks for having me, boys. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
You too. You're the man. Thank you, Dallas. All right. We're back. Let's keep talking about Crochet for a bit, okay? We got a few minutes here, your reactions, and I can give you more to the trade. Here's Ken on what they're acquiring. Top catching prospect, Kyle Teal. Outfielder, Braden Montgomery. Infielder, Chase Midroth. Right-hander, Wickelman Gonzalez.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, you want to read these? Is this my job still?
I mean, it is your job.
All right. Well, ready? Kyle Teal, Braden Montgomery, who I know both those.
Braden Montgomery,
and two
wasn't he
other
the guy
prospects.
who blew his leg out in the College World Series last year?
Who, Braden?
Braden Montgomery. Yeah, he was the guy who A&M guy, right?
You mean his ankle and couldn't play?
Yeah, and he was trying to score from third and hurt his leg.
Like a 6th pick or whatever?
Yeah, he was a pretty high draft pick.
Or no, 6th pick was Christian.
Yeah, Stanford, A&M. Yeah, okay, good. All right, no Meyer, no Anthony, no... I mean,
but they got one of the big four. They got Kyle Teal. So
I love that for the White Sox.
For the White Sox,
Kyle Teal, that's a great piece, but I would have liked to have seen for Crochet I would have liked to have seen a Meyer and Anthony. What's the other guy?
They got two good position players, Montgomery and Teal.
Montgomery is, a high draft pick, and he's got a chance to be special. So, yeah, I mean, I like this haul. Campbell's the other one, sorry. But I would have liked to have seen him get one of their top three. I mean.
But Teal Teal is in their top three.
Oh.
Yes,
Meyer,
he is.
No.
Anthony and Campbell are their top three.
Most people have Meyer 4 right now.
So he's fallen from 1 to 4?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Listen, I hope this works out. Montgomery, the 12th overall pick this year. Stanford, Texas A&M. Hope it works out. And the other guys, I since you butchered their names, Scott, I don't know who they are. But.
Okay. First off, so Baseball America right now does have Roman Anthony 1, Christian Campbell 2, Marcelo Meyer is 3, Kyle Teal is 4 for them. So they got number 4 according to our trusty source, Baseball America. Go check out Hot Sheet next week. We'll be all over this. Braden Montgomery is number 6. It's a great arm. This is a guy who could be a really good ball player in the bigs. I mean, the White Sox are looking to fill up a roster. They have next to nothing right now. It's bare bones. So catcher of the future for them.
Yeah, 100%.
In Kyle Teal.
But they also have Edgar Kiro.
That's great.
So they have 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you need.
Plus Montgomery, plus Meadroth, who is number 8. I mean, they got 3 of their top 10.
Okay.
And then the dude who I butchered the name.
He's the one that's not in the top 10?
He's not in the top 10.
What's his name?
Wilco.
I can get the larger list. Hold on. He's number 16. I mean, these are high-ranked prospects. The Red Sox farm system is top 5.
Yeah, it's high. Listen, I hope it works out. And you know, for both teams, you know, let's not forget Chris Sale was traded to the Red Sox for Kopech and Yoan Moncada and some other guys, and
who cares?
You just never know with prospects.
Yeah, you got Sale, and
they got Sale, got a World Series, Sale, and then you know, so the White Sox got nothing out of that. Right?
And I
mean, not nothing, but they didn't get a World Series like they thought. Everyone thought Kopech, Moncada were going to be pieces that got them to the World Series.
You Red Sox fans, you know who you are right now. There were many of you that replied to some things we did and talked about, and there were many of you that replied to certain articles out on good publications, and you talked a lot of crap about Garrett Crochet. And I know what you're doing right now. You're going to those comments and you're deleting them, but I already saw them when we talked about it. You know who you are. You said Crochet wasn't worth it. It was only one good year. He's had an injury history. He's not an ace. You know who you are because you're going to be sitting in seats rooting for him to thrive. So you're ridiculous. You're delirious. As we talked about the other day, they gave up a lot of prospects and good for them. This pitcher costs nothing. This is what your owner's obsessed with. If your team's not going to spend at the top of the market for a player, then you're going to get a player that in free agency right now would have gotten at least $150 million, maybe more. I'm telling you, that would have been the price for a guy that's in his, mid-20s who pitches like a 1. That's the cost, at least. So good for the Red Sox here. And Mike Elias is like, what am I doing, Baltimore?
But now
Burns is too expensive.
Do we really see Corbin Burns going back to Baltimore? That's the question. Do we really see that?
He's getting $240. Is he going to Baltimore for $240? $250, Kratz?
$257. I'm sticking with my number.
Okay, where's he going? San Francisco?
Man, I don't see how it's not San Francisco. I feel like San Francisco's just plugging their next good pitcher in. Buster Posey knows what good pitching does, and I know he likes Corbin Burns. That's it. I don't see the Orioles. I don't see the Orioles doing it.
I don't either. What about the Red Sox?
That would be awesome.
Mean? What else are they going to do?
Get Crochet.
What if they go get Crochet and Burns?
No. Teo.
Too much? They haven't spent any money yet. Like, this is an amazing move. They haven't spent any money yet.
This enables them to still spend money, but not that much money. I want to spend money, but not that much.
Crochet has 2 more years, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. FT fam, we're going to step aside. If you're watching this later on, let us know your thoughts in the comments on the trade, and we'll talk more about this trade later on in the show, among other topics. Things are hot right now in the winter meetings. FT fam, we'll be right back. All right, hot corner time. Let's get to some past and some present deals. So if you want really, really in-depth insight on what happened late yesterday with Max Fried signing with the Yankees, plus Andrés Giménez moving over to the Blue Jays, we covered that, but we can get quick thoughts here. Again, now that you've had one sleep, Kratz, to think about it. Any concerns about Max Fried? I mean, he mixes it up really well. He's actually pitched more than some people think. I mean, I know the injuries can look concerning, but he's given you good numbers of starts if you look at his recent history. I think what concerns some people is he's already had one Tommy John. He's had some forearm issues since then. That can sometimes be a precursor for future issues, but it's not a guy who's relying on his fastball, right? He already kind of like knows how to pitch as he ages, but does that get tougher to maintain if this stuff goes down, 3-4 years from now?
The fastball, is it tougher to maintain the fastball or his
Well,
success?
like the success of being somebody that's, got to be crafty lefty.
I mean, the guy's pumping 97. Like he's going to he brings, to me, I like the way his pitch mix ages with the cutter in, four-seam fastball, and he started running that four-seamer away to righties, and you're like, well, why would you run a four-seamer up and away to righties? It's a ball that you just, flick out of the ballpark the opposite field. That curveball will never age. His curve, look at what Wainwright did forever. Look at every guy that has had big curveballs. Is he going to have to learn to pitch differently? Absolutely. But you're sitting there going, is his pitch mix going to age well? Yes. Is his competitiveness going to age well? Yes. In 8 years, is a guy going to have another Tommy John surgery? History says most likely yes. But to me, I love how his pitch mix will age, because he doesn't just have to throw the kitchen sink at you the first at bat. He sets you up for your third and fourth at bat against him. And yes, I said it. He is a guy that can go a third or fourth time through the lineup.
Freed's going to be fine. I'm not worried about him. I said it yesterday. He's a guy that can pitch with his breaking ball, sliders, cutter. He's got a little changeup he mixes in. I'm not worried about him. Plus, he's left-handed, which always helps you out in the long run. If we want to talk about the Giménez deal, I know why the Guardians did it. Because the next few years coming up, when he gets into the 20s, that's not usually what the Guardians do. So they were like, hey, we got a team that'll give us something right now. And then they turned around and gave Horowitz to Pittsburgh, right, and got a bunch of prospects back. That's how the Guardians have to do things. So they signed him to this deal. They got to the point where he's not quite making the huge money yet, but they're like, oh, we can turn him and get him to get players that we can use in the future. Yes, please. This is what the Guardians have to do. This is what they've been successful at, and they know how to develop pitchers.
A sub $100 million payroll now for Cleveland. They're 23rd overall, according to Fangraphs, as we're looking at it in the American League Central. Twins at 142. That's going to be trimmed down to 130-ish. Royals are at 116. I think their limit's 120-ish. Guardians, I'm guessing, are going to hover in the 100 range.
Here's what needs to happen.
Tigers
need to spend. You can win the division.
Also, Detroit's a pretty big market. Doesn't that team make money?
It's about to be passed by Orlando, but we don't talk about that. We talked about that yesterday.
Well, Orlando's not a big league team right now.
There is a big league team. I'm just saying. But the Tigers, you made the playoffs last year. You got the best pitcher in baseball. You got some young, really good players, whether it's Kerry Carpenter, whether it's Riley Green, whatever name, Parker Meadows, whoever's name you want to throw out there. They figured out the bullpen last year. And there are a lot of young bullpen guys. Go for it, Detroit. Illich family. Spend some of that freaking pizza, Little Caesars money. Let's go. You got the little crazy bites everywhere. Let's go. Spend some of that money and get that payroll up in the 130s, 140, and you can probably win this division next year.
Alex Bregman's a good fit there. I don't care about the ball.
Do they have Javi Baez fear, though?
PTSD. Javi Baez PTSD is real. There have been multiple case studies on it, and they feel like it's been such a bust that it's just hard to go back and do another dance. And they're not the only ones. John Angelos felt that way, former Orioles owner, after the Chris Davis signing. He's like, I'm never doing that again. I'm not spending money on any players.
Well, he made a bad decision because he bid against himself and got put through the ringer.
He did. He just, yeah. I mean, he's not a good businessman. He got crushed. It happens.
But do they want to keep Skubal? Do they want to keep Skubal? Because if they want to keep him, you're clearly seeing what the value of a left-handed Cy Young Award winner. Lefties in the market right now, you got 185, you got 218, and he's got a Cy Young. So do you want to keep Skubal? You better keep some of that money aside, but you also better spend some of that money because he's not just going to want to stay with the next step, the next level of prospects for the Tigers.
Or try to sign him to an extension now, and then the money's down.
They can't right now. Both
You
teams,
can.
both. I mean, you can, but you're paying a premium, and he feels like he should be paid a premium right now because
Okay.
he's the best pitcher in the American League.
Okay. Well, then pay him like that. Not the best one, but pay him.
You can do it now.
That's what I'm saying. Pay him now.
Yeah.
Extend him. Give him a 10-year deal now. Make the numbers work. 10 years, 200.
360 million?
10 years, 200. See if he says no.
No.
See if he says no. Okay. 10 years, 300. See if he says no.
He says yes.
He says yes.
Okay. Do it. Do it, Detroit. Let's go. 10 years, 300. Let's go. Scoobs.
Woo.
I'll take 1%. Thank you.
All right, you want to swing back to any thoughts on the Red Sox here? I'm seeing some feedback and some questions.
No, I mean, I think this is a move they had to make. I think the Red Sox had to make this move.
Yeah.
Because they missed out on Fried. They missed out on so many other guys. I think they need to do more. I don't think this is the end all be all. Still think they need right-handed power bat, and I still think if they could get Burns, go get them. But I don't think this is it. This isn't be enough for me for the Red Sox.
I have to disagree with something that Dallas said when the news broke. He said, because they talked about it yesterday with the Yankees and Max Fried, panic move. Like this was, I don't think this was ever a panic move. I think this was the Red Sox plan the whole time. I think they were testing the waters to see what those free agents, Juan Soto, Max Fried, they probably even we'll find out they tested the water with Corbin Burns. This wasn't a panic move. This was just their move. They were going to go hard in this direction, and I think they executed their plan.
I mean, this is one of the best bargains in baseball right now. I know he hasn't been doing it forever. You can also make the case that he doesn't have significant innings on the arm. You can look at this in multiple ways. You know, oh, it was only 1 year of shoving as a starter. I'm like, good. He hasn't wasted bullets.
Yeah, but also I'm going to need to see him get into the 150, 160 range start pitching wise, innings wise.
I'm not extending him.
This is his first year.
I got to see that. I got to see that first.
You're not extending him.
Not yet.
I got to see 150, 160 innings first before I can do that. I can't go off the year he had because remember, at the All-Star break, they're like, all right, we're going to start limiting his innings. And guess what they did? They started limiting his innings.
Mm-hmm.
Like I need to see him give me a year where I know he's going out there giving me 6-7 innings every time. Then I say, okay, Garrett, you did it. Now we talk.
Okay.
That's my opinion as a GM. We'll see. Could be wrong. They might do it now, but great.
Mm-hmm. And if you do that for a year, he might say, well, now I'm a year away from free agency. And did you see how much so-and-so got?
Fine.
Yeah. Also, for the next 2 years, the Red Sox need to be playoff contenders again. This is a step along the way. No?
I mean, why the next 2 years
for a while? They just got him for 2 years, no guarantee after that, and it's time. It's time. They're a big market franchise that's
time for the Red Sox to step up again.
Swimming at the bottom of the division.
I agree with that. But you know, are they in position now because they have Crochet to be a playoff team? They should be in the playoffs. They should beat out the Twins. They should beat out the Royals. They should beat out all these teams. They're in position to do that.
I think their offense is in a playoff range with what's coming to, with what they have and what's coming. I think their pitching is definitely not.
They need more. This is not the move. This is not the final move. They have to go more.
I know Pivetta, hasn't posted great results, but he's out of the rotation too. Those were some nice innings, right? So there's more needed here.
They need more.
Of course.
To compete, they need more. Especially with the Yankees, the evil empire across the street.
Yeah.
They need Lance Lynn.
Ooh.
So
Let's bring on Lance Lynn next on FT. He's going to join us in 2 minutes. YouTube crowd will take a question or two during the break. All right, here we are. Getting questions about Bregman. KT, Opinion on Bregman. Best fit for him or likely landing spot, but can't say Red Sox. I don't think he wants to move positions. Houston or Yankees. Well, KT, I got good news for you. If he signs with the Red Sox, he's not moving positions. Devers is.
True that.
But are they going to sign him? Probably not.
Red Sox?
No.
Bregman
Houston,
wouldn't go to
Yankees
second?
or other. No, he would. He would. But in that
He said
scenario,
at the beginning of the offseason.
no, I know he would move, but you would move him off third? Gold Glover at third? You're going to move him and keep Devers at third?
One's a franchise guy, just to keep him happy.
Honestly, I think this is like a waste. I don't think he's signing there. So
Yeah, it's not.
for
Agreed.
me, Houston's in play, especially now that
Yankees definitely should be in play.
Yeah, the Yankees are in play.
Cubs should be in play.
There's a love triangle going on right now, too, because of this Tucker situation. I mean, if they're serious about dealing him, the Yankees are in play. If they do deal him, maybe it leads to the Astros keeping Alex Bregman.
I like that theory.
I
Who do
think
they like
the Tigers
more?
should be in play. I think the Nationals could be in play, although I saw a report this morning from Robert
We
Murray,
haven't
our
heard
friend.
anything from them.
I
which
got
is
one.
odd.
I got one this morning. Robert Murray said Nat's interested in Christian Walker and talking to him. And that one I actually buy.
Okay.
That makes some sense to me. You got to get some vets in there to show them the way. Our vet, Lance Lynn, next. Free agent Lance Lynn joining us right now.
Just for men, Lance Lynn.
Ooh-wee.
Just for men sponsorship.
That's
must
natural.
be
Natural, baby. That's all
natural.
natural.
Yeah, that's a lumberjack.
I mean, you
right
have the
there.
third best beard on the show today.
I see that.
No, I was talking me, then Dallas Braden, then you.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
You did have Braden.
AJ's
Braden's
Hey,
got it.
Braden. Yeah. Braden's got a good one. He's had one for a long time too.
Yeah, he's been working on that for decades. So how you doing? How's the free
Hold up.
agent
No.
process?
Stand up.
What?
Stand up. Because I've heard
I'm
all
not here to
about
put it. I'm not here
I've
to
heard
put on
all
a show
about this
for you.
weight loss. I've heard all
I'm
about
not here
this
to put
weight
on a show
loss.
for you.
I gotta see it. You live in
You've
Missouri, from the show me state. You're gonna have to show me.
No. You've seen it in the shower. You're good to go.
You got
That's
to
why
pay
you
more
did
for
it
that,
again, 'cause I
AJ.
forgot.
You got to pay more for that.
All right, let me start here. Free agent process. You've been here before. How's it going? Have you done any of those? You don't have to tell us the teams if you don't want, but have you done any of those meetings, those teleconference meetings, video, Zoom, whatever, Google Meet?
Yeah, I think you know how it goes. You have a few calls here and there, and then some teams miss out on some guys, and then other teams start calling. So I think you're starting to see the top guys go, which usually they wait a little longer. So that process has got a lot of teams occupied right now, as you saw last night with Freed and all those guys. So you're going to see more teams get involved for the next market as you get going here. So there's been a lot of calls, and there's been a wide variety of teams, which is kind of fun, but it's also like, man, if we get quite a few offers here, I'm gonna have to pick out what destination sounds a little better, and go from there. So it's been an interesting free agency compared to the past ones for me.
Sacramento is gonna look beautiful on you. That's all I'm saying.
This
Sacramento.
is the big.
You're gonna look great in
it's-
Sacramento.
It's crazy, right? Out of nowhere, the A's are trying to throw some money around. Sacramento just got a different bankroll than Oakland, I guess. I don't understand it, but in all honesty, you never know in this market, and there's a lot of teams that are trying to start the phase to being contenders with young talent, and I seem to be on their list, and teams that are looking to win World Series and need some stability in the rotation. I'm on that list too. So I'm in a good spot. Like I said, as you talked about physically, I'm in a really good spot. And I'm not done yet. And you know how it goes when you're not done yet. You got stuff to prove, and that's where I'm at right now.
So just to clarify, you would do the whole minor league home ballpark thing, right?
That'd be interesting. It looks like Tampa's doing the same thing this year, not by choice. So, there's two teams that are going to be involved in that situation. So, unfortunately, you never get to pick your home ballpark where you're going to play. So you never know. It all depends on what's out there.
So what necessitated the change, the physical change? Before we get to all the crazy moves that have been out there, do you feel different? Is it something that you're looking for the nude episode of the Sports Illustrated, whatever that was called, the
Are you,
skin episode?
the body issue?
Body, that's what it was. Is that what you're
I
looking
just,
for?
yeah, I dare you. To be honest, what started the whole process is the achy knee, right? So you gotta take some pressure off that. That was the main goal this year, is to make sure that that's ready to where it needs to be, and so I don't have to, manage that as IL stints and stuff like that, because I hated it. Hated not being able to play, and I hated the way I felt. So that was the big culprit of why to lose weight, why to figure out how to do everything you need to do to stay on the field and compete, because that's why we play, and you only get so many years to do it. So I'm gonna try to make the best of it here. As I'm gonna call this my last act. I don't know how many more years it's going to be, but I'm gonna put my body in a situation I can play for as long as I want, and then. The body issue, maybe if I get hot this year when it's Cy Young, it just screams body issue. That's for sure.
You got no chance. You got no chance. All right, first of all,
Do
like
it.
I said, I've seen you in the shower. Trust me, they're
Do
going to
it.
need a very small leaf to cover the part. Okay,
Oh,
Whoa,
come on.
whoa,
Whoa.
Yeah.
the belly,
whoa.
the belly. We're talking.
Whoa.
We're
Oh,
talking
the
about the
belly.
belly now that it's gone.
No
Yeah.
couch anymore.
hmm He likes
Okay,
to throw
now-
fire, but he forgets fire comes back sometimes. So
It does,
we'll
but
wait
I'm-
for that.
All right, so let me ask you this: you were in St. Louis last year. You went back home, and now you look at what they're doing in St. Louis. Mozeliak comes out and goes, "We're not spending any money. We're going to try to. We lost Goldie. We're going to try to trade Nolan." What the heck's going on in St. Louis? They always are competitive. They never throw in the towel. They always are like, "We're going to go."
I think you're seeing a full organizational reboot after years of kind of. I think I want to tell you, like, flipping and flopping back and forth, whether it's old school, this is how we play the Cardinal way, or hey, we're going fully analytically based and this and that, and they're trying to figure out how to combine both of them. And then by doing that, they're putting a hold on what they're doing in the major league level at this very moment. I don't think that it's going to last all off season. I think that they're seeing the landscape and seeing what they want to do, seeing where they're at. Whether it's it sounds like Nato might get traded or something like that. They're trying to free up some space for some of these young kids to take over, but also putting them in a spot to where they have the things around them to be able to be successful. Where some of that stuff is it wasn't quite there, I think, at the minor league level, but it was at the big league level. But when you don't have those things at the minor league level and you get to the big league level, sometimes things speed up on you and you're not quite ready to compete at the big league level. So they're trying to change that on the way up, which was different. When I was coming up through the minor leagues, it was they got you ready to play in the big leagues and they got you ready to compete to win. It wasn't just to get there. It was hey, you better be able to help us win when we get there. Where now it's like you get there and it's like, hey, well, we just tried to get you here and now figure it out on your own. So I think the whole organization is trying to reboot, and I got to talk to him a little bit this year, and we got to pick each other's brain. I think he's going to do a great job of building that system back up, because they've got some talent now. It's just making sure those guys are ready to compete and at all, at the highest level to win games. And there's some talent there to win right now. It's just how you want to go about plugging the final holes here in free agency, which it sounds like they're going to do it on the market of veterans at the very end, guys that might have, slipped past later in the offseason.
Now, I know right before you came on here, some news broke. I know you were probably doing the shake weight and the thigh master, so you might not have seen the news of Crochet getting traded.
I did. I saw that it was in a process, right? Is it official?
What's Boston getting? What's Boston getting in that guy? Yeah, it's not finalized yet, but it's in the process.
Yeah, it's happening.
So Garrett was as a young. So when I was there, he was a young reliever, right? Because they got him right out of the draft in COVID, put him in the bullpen, and he always wanted to start. I remember as a reliever, he was throwing high leverage situations 2 innings at a time, but he would still always pick everybody's brain in the starting rotation on things, and he would always pay attention to routines and ask you about how to take care of his arm and what you feel in between starts and stuff like that. So he was doing his homework early on to make sure he was going to be a starter. He never let that go. Every year it was like, hey, I want to start. I'm going to do whatever you ask me to do. I want to be a big leaguer, but I'm going to start. Just let you know. And I think that that's what you're getting. You're getting a guy that's determined to be good. He's determined to do it at a high level, and he's determined to do it for a long time. And my man, when he's on the mound, he wants to shove it down your throat. So, I mean, whoever gets him, you're getting a guy who wants the ball. He wants to dominate whoever's in the box, and he wants to do it for a long time.
Since you've lost all this weight now, and that's all we seem to be able to talk about, are you going to tight roll your pants the way Garrett Crochet does, just because you're skinny like he is now?
No, I'm never going to be a tapered game pants guy. That's just not my style. I'm going to go into spring training with the same size uni and just let it wave in the wind. You know,
I like it.
You just here it is. You got to have
you
something
and Manny
to
Ramirez.
Into. Yeah,
you and Manny Ramirez. I love it.
Hey, Lance, now that Garrett has moved on to another ball club, what did you think about what he went through last year where, you know, he's in trade talks, you're transitioning to a full-time starter for the first time, you're thriving, but they got to kind of manage the innings. And then on top of all of that, there's the, hey, I don't want to get burned out because my arm's an asset. And if there's an extension, okay. And you get the public criticism for that coming out. Like, there just was a whole whirlwind going on for a guy who obviously had not been in the limelight much in the past.
I kind of applaud him for telling, like, hey, this is how I feel. If you want me to, help you win a World Series, you got to make it worth my while. Obviously in this game, you don't really have a whole lot of say so. He was able to, and you're looking at a first full year as a starter after really not pitching the year before because of Tommy John and stuff like that. He wasn't wrong to protect himself. But he also, it's like, hey, I'm a starter too. And the only way to be better next year is to start all year this year. I'm going to have to manage some innings here and there because he's never thrown over 120 innings probably in his life. So he's not wrong to protect himself, but he gave you an ultimatum. Hey, if you want me to go, I'll go, but I'm going to need some money to do it. And, that was his choice. And I'm not mad at him for it. Like, hey, we'd all say it. Hey, I'll do whatever you want me to do, but you're not going to sit here and ruin my career to do it. You got to make it worth my while. And hey, he's going to Boston supposedly. We don't know if it's totally final yet, but he's going to a place to win, and he's got 140 something innings under his belt from last year, and he's ready to go show the world how dominant he can be for a full year and 180 plus innings. So all in all, it's working out for him.
Do you see what the Dodgers have been saying about the Yankees? How every Dodgers pretty much come out and talk some form of smack. Do you think that's fair game? Do you think that's fair game in the sense that they won and they felt some type of way about them?
I know some of those Dodgers very well, and they're not afraid to speak their opinion on anything. So that is it fair game? I guess it is because they won and they got every right to say whatever they want. But it also, it puts a little target on your back, and I'm sure that the Yankees guys and the rest of the league are being like, okay, which, hey, look what they're doing. They're still adding. They're still making sure that they have everything they can to repeat. So they're going to have a target on their back anyway. So, hey, when you win it all, you can say what you want. Is it fair game? But puts a target on your back, and if you're ready to handle that, then say what you want.
Hey, Joe Kelly was a young pup when you brought him up. So, you taught him to say those kind of things. You can only look in the mirror and say, I'm sorry, Joe, I taught you that.
No, I could tell him he's welcome. And a long time ago, we learned to say things with our chest, and Joe's still doing it.
Oh, Joe's not afraid to say anything, which makes him refreshing. I'm not going to lie. That's why we were teammates for 2 days, and they traded him because me and Lance together with Joe would have been bad news.
Wayno and Holiday would have been in trouble.
That's good. I like that. Question for you about the Juan Soto deal. I don't know if you heard about that, but he got a lot of money. So thoughts on it, and also I'm curious for veteran pitchers like you. Does it make you want to strike them out a little more? Not obviously the players respect the game and the earnings, but it's like, all right, this dude is by far the highest paid player of all time, highest paid player pro sports. I want to get him.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you look at when you go into a lineup, the big dog. You always, you're like, hey, here's the guys. I gotta make sure don't beat me today, but I gotta get them too. So that's never going to change any lineup. But he got broke off, man. That's amazing. You love it for the player. It just keeps going up. I think obviously him and Shohei are outliers of the world at the moment. But it's still not hurting everybody. It's going to help the player and the players in the future. So that's great. Yes, people are going to want to beat him, but they're going to want to beat him no matter what because he's that good, and you got to make sure you're ready for him. Man, it's crazy how much money he got. It really is when you look at it. Somebody wrote he made more than LeBron and someone else in their playing careers just in that contract. So.
Brady.
It's good for him. Two of the greatest of all time, the absolute goats. And Juan's had a great start to his career, and obviously if he keeps his trajectory up for the whole length of that contract, he's going to be, got a really good chance to be one of the best all time. But those two are on the top two of all time of players in their sports, and he's making more than both of them combined. That's crazy.
Okay, I got to ask this because I want to know. Did you pitch against the Yankees past year?
No, I did not.
Okay, so if you were going to pitch
last
against
time I faced him was in San Diego when I was with the Dodgers.
Okay, so this is more relevant. If you have a lineup and you have Soto and then Judge, who are you circling in the lineup that you have to get out? Who's more of a threat to you, Soto or Judge?
If you go look at career numbers, I would rather face Soto than Judge. If you're just going off of career numbers,
I'm just wondering because Soto hit in front of Judge. Soto does what he does. Judge does what he does. So I always just wanted to ask a pitcher, and you're a starting pitcher, and you'll give us an honest answer.
I would if he's in front of Judge, I'm trying to get him out, and if he hits a double, I'm walking Judge.
Okay. Cool.
But if I get him out, I'm going to try to strike out Judge too, and especially if I strike Juan out, which he's a pain in the butt to strike out, I'm going to try to strike both of them out in a row just so I can holler coming off.
And then just do your dance, do the Lance Lynn dance, baby.
Do a little tug and head on to the dugout.
I can appreciate that, but what people don't know, Lance throws strikes, and a guy like Juan Soto wants you to get behind in the count. He doesn't chase. And so that, I know this is crazy, like, oh, well, that's what everybody should do. Not everybody pitches the same way as Lance does, and I think that's, in my opinion, probably why you have success against him.
Yeah, we've had he's taken some good swings off me. Don't get me wrong, but so far I've had the luck of when he's put it in play, it's gone at people.
All right, so my last question: while Juan Soto just got broke off, confirm the story. Your daughter lost a tooth, correct?
Oh yeah. Yep, our first.
Did she
it's her first one.
Did she set the market for the rest of her teeth? Because there's a couple more coming. And what is that coming? Because you're almost $100 million guy. She knows that. She has Baseball Reference.
Hey, don't sell me short. I'm over it.
Okay, I said almost $100 million. Oh, I'm sorry, not under. You're right at $100 million. Okay, so. Did she set the market for the rest of her teeth? And what is that these days?
We go first tooth $5, and then after that, the rest of the little ones are $1, and the bigger ones will be $5.
Okay.
How do you
sounds
determine
like
what's a little one? What's a little one and a big one? I'm going to call Scott Moore. I'm going to pull my own tooth out.
The front top ones. Those are the big dogs. So they're bringing in the big chompers.
Okay.
That's the bounty. That's the big bounty.
Yeah.
These the front ones?
Yeah, the front. The ones that
top two middle are the big dogs. She didn't lose that one, but we did the welcome to the Tooth Fairy world.
I'm just going to say it's a little
Tooth
low.
So nice.
Did she pull it out herself? Did she pull it out herself, or did you have to do the old tie the string to the door trick?
Nah, she wouldn't let me grab it. She ended up flicking it out on her own.
There you go. Oh. You get a bonus escalator for that as we're talking trade.
You know any kids? You know any kids that knock it out and then they swallowed it by accident? They're like, I don't get the Tooth Fairy.
Yeah, it's not, yep. I've seen that show.
Yeah, exactly. That's a problem.
All right, well,
Then I can see Lance with the sifter in a certain area trying to find his tooth.
Oh,
Nope.
Pay the
man,
$5.
AJ is on fire.
Tooth Fairy will find it wherever it goes.
Lance, you're the man, dude. Enjoy the process. Obviously, we'd love to have you, right after it happens. And I'm going to guess it's going to happen pretty quick because market's moving. So maybe we'll grab you in a week or so and we'll talk about the new club.
It's moving and it's in a very good spot. So I'm liking what I'm seeing.
Don't
I
be
like
afraid
it, dude.
to.
I'm excited.
Don't be afraid to announce it on here. I mean, just saying. Don't be afraid.
I'll let you know if anything fires up in the next 24 to 48 hours so we can get back on.
Please
All right.
let us know.
do it.
Appreciate you, man. Good talking to you,
Thanks,
Lance.
Lance.
Thank you. See ya. FT fam, be right back. Okay, BetMGM looking at the win total for the Nationals last year. We're in the TV break talking to the YouTube crowd about the number they entered the season at, which was 66.5. That's the current from last year. And then they finished at 71 wins. So if you took the over, good for
I
you.
said they were going to be better, so I think
I admitted my loss yesterday. Took the under on the Mets, but I did take the over on the Washington Nationals. I was like, they looked pretty good in the second half of the season
66
before.
is too low.
It was too low. And wait, here's the factor that I don't think the computers put into play as much. What's coming? Prospects. What's coming? James Wood. I actually thought Dylan Cruz would be called up sooner. No, I'm saying this was for last year. When you're trying to project, one of the ways that you can get an edge is if you're really dialed in on prospects and you think guys are going to come up sooner and you think they're going to perform. Good example on the San Diego side is if you were a guy that's just, or girl, super high on Jackson Merrill, then you might have profited off taking the Padres win total. I'm not saying one player is changing the complexion of a franchise, but some of these guys were contributing significant wins. So good for the Nats. Their rotation is full of players mostly that you don't know, especially now that Patrick Corbin's gone, but many of them performed quite well. So I'm excited for the Nats. Now they got to make a little statement here, like we were talking about earlier. I need one veteran position player signing. I would have liked to see a pitcher, but I think they have PTSD from their last two big money pitching signings, even though one of them or both of them won a World Series. I know, but they still just get upset when they don't get the performance after that.
Give CJ Abrams a little bit of guidance too, which clearly came out at the end of the year. A veteran presence type of thing.
Right. Get a Christian Walker in there, or I think Bregman would be a great fit there at third base. Mm-hmm. They've got third base wide open there.
Isn't Ryan Zimmerman still playing third?
In a local league, yeah.
Heimer Candelario still there.
If you'd like to play a little poker action, player pools are merged. Michigan and New Jersey, get after it. We have a tournament coming up early January. AJ's going to be there. Kratz going to be there. I'm going to be there. Atlantic City, baby. Get ready. We're going to do something special. We'll come right back with the winners of the draft lottery. The
you guys don't want my poker smoke.
Center stage. I want you to talk really good trash. Hey, you might have missed this, but I think it's really important. When you get a number one pick, it matters. Ask the Washington Nationals, winners of the World Series back in 2019. Thanks to Steven Strasburg, whether you like it or not, afterward didn't work out, but he was a dude for them in 2019.
Harper was a dude for him too.
Harper was obviously left.
Went to Philly.
But high picks matter. You know who else was a high pick, by the way? Anthony Rendon. He was damn good with the Nationals and helped them a lot in 2019.
Zimmerman was a high pick too.
Zimmerman was a high pick. The Nationals have been one of the best at tanking and getting high picks. You can't really do that anymore, but they did win the lottery, so good for them. First time picking number one since 29 and 2010 with Strasburg and Harper back-to-back seasons. So here's the last 10 number one draft picks that you're looking at on the board. Some have worked, some have not. Bazana just happened for a Cleveland team that made it to the ALCS. Then they get the number one pick. This is why the draft lottery is kind of crazy. Skeens obviously is a stud for Pittsburgh. Jackson Holiday has a bright future, and so on and so forth. There have been some busts, like Henry Davis has not worked out as a number one yet. Spencer Torkelson has had a up and down career. Rutschman's mostly been really good. Royce Lewis is really talented. Got to keep him on the field, etc. 2 notes, because I like to look past number one. The Marlins and the Rockies were tied for the best odds at getting the number 1 pick. The Rockies got the 4th overall pick. Okay. And I like the Condon move last year for them, the signing and the selection. The Marlins, 7.
Ouch.
Obviously,
Mariners
the White Sox
made a big
finished in
jump.
last. They couldn't even participate. The Mariners were at 15 for best record in baseball, right in the middle, and they get the 3rd pick. They won by far.
you barely mentioned it. The White Sox. What did they do last year? They had the worst record of all time. Not just like the last 10 years. Ever. And they couldn't pick higher than 10th. So they guess what pick they got? They got 10. They should have had 1. They got 10. So tanking, it might not work so good anymore.
But at least bring a friendly
We can
face.
have Holiday and Holiday both in the DC area.
That's what I want to see.
Ethan Holiday, number 1 pick next year.
You think?
Going to the Washington
I'm going to say
Nationals.
he's not. Not for any reason other than I think the Nationals will take a college guy because they'll want him to be ready sooner. Not because of knock on Ethan Holiday at all. I've seen him play. He's played against my son a bunch of times. I'm sure he's played against Kratz's son.
Crazy pop.
He's got crazy pop, really good defender, can do a lot of things. But I just feel like there will be a college kid that the Nationals are going to say, we can get him here quicker.
Friendly wager? I think he's going 1.
Okay. I hope he does.
And he's super marketable, and
I think
that stuff matters too.
Laviolette in A&M has got a chance to be 1.
We just went over it.
You should know better than me.
Hot Sheet. Carlos Collazo from Baseball America was just on our show going over some of the big names.
I think the guy at A&M is 1. I think there's a couple others that I'm blanking.
For time purposes, Baseball
Dude, if
America's
Seth Hernandez
YouTube
isn't 1, I don't know if y'all know who Seth Hernandez is. Have you ever seen that guy? He pitches and hits, and he throws 100, and he hits bombs. High school kid out of California. Kid's pretty good.
Yeah, this is a good draft. This is a better draft than the last one.
Kags
went last year.
I mean, isn't he the same thing? Isn't that Seth Hernandez kid the same thing?
For now.
Well, except Kags is 6'5" and hit 40 homers in the SEC.
He can go make $1 million. He can go make $1 million in college. He'll be fine.
Can we show the Jim Thome tweet from Aaron Gleeman? Gleeman's been on fire this offseason. He also gets to cover the Twins.
Super salty because his Twins aren't doing anything. So now he's just going.
He's taking out
That's their
AL Central teams.
Yeah, I mean, the guy, he's like, I got the 10th pick. Why am I here?
They made poor Jim Thome go to the draft lottery and be on TV representing the worst team in baseball, even though the White Sox were not eligible for the number 1 pick and couldn't move higher than number 10.
But good. Jim looks good, though. Jim's a nice fella. He did it out of the goodness of his heart.
That's why.
Did you play with Jim?
He goes.
I played with Jim a bunch of years. Yes, I did.
Oh, man, what a human being.
I played with Jim. We traded for him in 2006. He was there until we traded for him last minute. He traded him to the Dodgers. I think it was 2009.
Okay, so 3 years.
So 6, 7, 8, 9, I played with him. And we traded. I'll never forget, we're in Minnesota. Aaron Gleeman's team. We're in the visiting clubhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, the trade deadline used to be at midnight, remember? So everything had to be done at like midnight Eastern. And we're all sitting in there. He's in the hot tub. Excuse me. And he's like, you guys sit down. It was like me, Canerico, I think maybe Dye was still there. I don't know. We're sitting in there. And he goes, just got a phone call from Kenny Williams. He goes, they want to trade me to the Dodgers, but I got full no trade. What do you guys think I should do? And we were like in last place. We're like, Jim, go. Like he's like, I got 3 minutes. We're like, go, run away, run to the Dodgers. And he did. And he went, and then I think he came back and kicked our butts with the Twins. So but no, it was just funny. We were all sitting there together, and he's like, "What do you guys think?" We're like, we'll go, please. You freedom.
Man, I forgot about that. That was 2009.
2009, yeah.
Yeah.
Because 10 is when the new stadium opened in Minnesota.
Right, and then he went back to
Minnesota. But it was just funny that we were all sitting there, we're having a beer, and he's in the hot tub, and he goes, "What do you guys think?" And we're all like, go. You should go. You should go. And he did.
Do you think that he was really thinking about it?
Oh, he didn't want, because he lives in Chicago full time, so his family's based there. He just didn't want to. He didn't want to uproot everybody and move to LA. It's a long move from Chicago to LA.
I get it. I mean,
I get it, especially in the middle of the season, right?
Sure.
So listen, and he went, and then he ended up coming back to Minnesota. He ended up going back to Cleveland for a little while, but A+ individual, A+.
Oh, he's so nice. Yeah.
One day I'll tell the story about what he did to me one time. He got me good one time. Well, I'll have to tell that. We don't have time right now, but I will.
Okay.
He beat Papelbon in a bet, $500, and he paid it to him in quarters. It was the most $500 in quarters ever. It's hilarious.
Let's slap, and we hinted at this, but can announce it more officially since it's happening tomorrow. AJ, myself on the road, we are going to do our show from the Pro Cup. Oh, that is a nice looking graphic right there. Nice and fresh. Let's smoke. Thursday, which is tomorrow, December 12th, live 1 to 3 Eastern, we'll have our show, and we're going to do interviews with at least some of this list, which I went over yesterday. Kevin Millar is going to be there, Brian McCann, Josh Donaldson, Eric Gagne, Derek Lowe, Cody Ross, etc. So looking forward to that. It's actually...
Are we only... By the way, are we... Okay, so people don't know what the Pro Cup is.
I know what you're going to ask.
It's MLB, NHL, NBA, and NFL. So the 4 major sports leagues.
And you can go if you're
They
in
pick
the area.
10 players to play, and then one captain picks them. Smoltz is the baseball captain. Bettis is football. I think Jeremy Roenick is hockey.
I thought it was Madonna.
Oh, John Barry... No,
John
Roenick
Barry
is the captain.
Oh, it is Roenick?
Yeah. And
Madonna's
then John Barry is the captain for basketball. But are we going to interview other people from other teams? Because I want to talk Roenick. If you don't know Jeremy Roenick, he's one of the greatest interview dudes of all time. So if we can get 5 minutes with Roenick, just have him sit down and just tell some crazy story about when him and Chris Chelios were together one time, it would be worth 5 minutes. I think Ray
can
Allen's
golf too.
Yes. Ray Allen's
a great dude.
I went out drinking once with Brett Hull and Chris Chelios.
Yeah.
It was just one of those where you end up with a fun crew. And so I'll see if I can get Hull. If
we can interview Terrell Buckley. He tried to play minor league baseball one time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I used to work out with him. Terrell T-Buck here. He was living in Orlando, and he was with the Mariners, and I used to work out with him.
You just figured I'll give it a shot.
He's fast as hell. He wanted to race. I told him I'd beat him, and I quit.
So we'll be there. We'll do as many interviews as we can, and obviously some of them will be on the show. If we do more, we'll throw them up on YouTube and on our socials. And of course, we'll be there to break down all the trades and signings that happen between now and then. Congratulations, Tom Hamilton.
Yes, I texted you, Hammy. Down goes Hamilton. Oh, wait, no, that was Hammer. To the Hall of Fame.
Down goes Anderson. Hall of Famer Tom, best broadcasters in baseball history. Been calling games for Cleveland for a long time. He's been on the show. He is awesome. Congrats, Tom.